How's it going, guys? It's K Cars, and today I wanted to do a driving review on my 2001 Jeep Cherokee XJ. Also, just giving you guys reasons why you should daily drive a Jeep Cherokee XJ. Just to give you guys a little bit of a background, I've had this Jeep for about 10 months now. I got it back, I think, either January or February. It's currently the end of November. So, like I said, it is a 2001. I got it with 103,000 miles for about $3,500. So I think that's a pretty fair price considering how good of a condition it's in. Pretty much all the negative things that I've noticed about this Jeep don't really matter to me because, you know, like the fuel economy, of course it's not going to be good in a 2001 Jeep. You know, these things are gas guzzlers. And I didn't buy this Jeep to have good fuel economy. Like, I don't think any actual Jeep enthusiast would buy a Jeep for good fuel economy. That's mostly for people that aren't really, I guess, like Jeep enthusiasts. They're just buying a Jeep as like a regular daily driver car or like a practical car, which is completely fine. I know that's what Jeep has been doing with the new Jeeps, like the JL. They're more kind of like family-oriented cars, not like strictly for Jeep enthusiasts, I guess. But anyways, I didn't get a Jeep for the good fuel economy, and I think if you're getting a Cherokee XJ just like this, then you're probably in the same boat. You don't really care too much about the fuel economy. You just care about the off-road capabilities and just having fun with the Jeep, which is pretty much why I got it. I am planning to do a little off-road test while it's still stock, just to see how much of a difference there will be whenever I get the lift, wheels, and tires installed. So definitely look out for that video. I might have that coming here in a few weeks maybe. But anyways, I'm cruising at 50 miles an hour right now, and it's stable. As you can see, there's no like shaking or anything. The steering wheel is completely solid, like it's not shaking, like I said. The Jeep feels pretty stable. Of course it's not going to be good around turns because it's a Jeep. It's not a sports car or anything like that. It's not going to handle very good. Going over some bumps here, you'll see it really isn't that bad. It soaks them up pretty well for how old it is. Now, considering I have driven a 2017 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon Hard Rock, top of the line, and it definitely rides like a cloud. Like, you really can't feel the bumps at all. It soaks them up a lot better than this thing, but you got to keep in mind this thing's 20 years old, so you can't really expect it to be as good as a brand new Jeep. And, you know, for being 20 years old, I'd say this is probably one of the best value vehicles you can buy right now. As long as you find one that's been taken care of. This one was owned by an older lady who barely drove it, and she also maintained it very well. She serviced it regularly, so I think I definitely got lucky with this Jeep. We'll see how it takes this turn right here. So, I mean, you know, you can't go fast around turns at all. Like I said, it's not a sports car. Took that turn perfect. I was going the speed limit or the suggested speed, whatever it was. So yeah, we got some more bumps coming up here. You know, it's completely stable. It's, you know, it's not going to be rocking around back and forth. Now, if you guys like keep up with Jeep stuff, then you'll probably hear all the rumors about like how they're horrible in wind, and I can confirm it is a struggle when it's really windy. There was one time I was going about 45 miles an hour, maybe 50, and a huge gust of wind came, and it almost made me go completely into the other lane because I just wasn't expecting it. So I mean, it's easy to correct stuff like that, but if you're not expecting it, then the wind can easily jerk you, especially if you're on the highway. Now, one complaint that I do have with this Jeep is I don't like driving it on the highway. It's just, I feel like it's not stable. That might be because I'm comparing it to a brand new Jeep or like a Challenger or a sports car like that, but I don't know. I'm just not a fan of driving this Jeep on the highway. I know a lot of people enjoy driving these old XJs on the highway, but for me, I don't think I would like driving this Jeep on the highway very much. I've done it twice. The first time that I drove this on the highway was actually when I test drove it, and you know, it felt comfortable around 70 miles an hour, but it kind of like walks around the road. It's not completely straight, so you always have to be paying attention, which is good, I guess, because it forces you to always pay attention to the road. Got another turn coming up here. And, you know, you really can't take turns quick in this thing, which, you know, you would expect for a 20-year-old Jeep or any Jeep for that matter. Yeah, it's really easy to drive in the city. You know, you can't make really quick maneuvers with this thing. It handles good for what it is, that's what I'll say. Another thing is the acceleration really is pretty bad, which is what you would expect. I believe these things have 190 crank horsepower stock, which, you know, for a 4-liter inline 6 20-year-old Jeep, I feel like that's not too terrible. Sometimes if I'm in traffic and I'm just normally accelerating, I can tell people behind me get pretty mad because, you know, I can't really accelerate too fast and I just don't want to. I don't want to like overwork the engine, I guess, and risk cracking the head, which is one thing that the 2000s and the 2001s are known for. So yeah, if you overheat the engine, they can possibly crack the head, which is what I do not want to do with this thing. So that's why I've been just taking it easy with this Jeep. Not really, I don't like accelerating too fast with this thing. So we can go downshift here for the red light. See, you went down to first gear there. And I will tell you guys a story of how I almost wrecked this Jeep one time. It was a rainy day. You know, the roads were wet and slippery. I was going around a turn. I had it in the 1-2 gear where it picked between first or second gear. And I was in second gear at the time, and I slowed down for a turn. And I guess I slowed down just enough for it to downshift into first gear. And when that happened, the rear wheels slowed down so much that they just like they didn't completely lock up, but they slowed down enough for the rear end to just slide right out, and I ended up like drifting around the turn. Luckily nothing happened. Luckily there weren't cars oncoming in the other lane, or else I probably would have hit them and it would have been an actual wreck. So really lucky that there weren't any oncoming cars. But that's one thing you got to keep in mind, is that the stock tires, like these tires aren't that old. I believe I bought it with like brand new tires, so they're not old by any means, but you just got to keep in mind with skinny tires like this, I believe they're 235s maybe. If you have a rear wheel drive vehicle and you downshift, especially with not too much weight in the rear, most of it in the front of course, then if you downshift and you're going around a turn, then there is a possibility that could happen. So, you know, not really anything specific to the Jeep, but just something that you should keep in mind for any vehicle. Going back to the whole like accelerating and braking thing, sometimes that could be a safety issue, because, you know, maybe if you have to merge onto the highway and you can't accelerate fast enough to get in front of like a huge 18-wheeler, for example, then that could end pretty badly. Either you're gonna have to floor it and then you can't end up making it in front of the 18-wheeler fast enough, or you're gonna have to slam on the brakes and you might run out of road because you can't slow down fast enough. So those are just some of the downsides of daily driving a Jeep Cherokee. We got a nice bump coming up. Yeah, so it wasn't too bad really. But yeah, those are some downsides, very minor downsides of daily driving this thing. You know, like I said, you're not gonna buy an old Jeep Cherokee XJ like this for the performance. You're not buying it for the braking ability. You're not buying it for the acceleration or the handling. You're buying it, most likely, if you're buying a Jeep Cherokee XJ, you're gonna be buying it to have fun with off-road and just stuff like that. That's the reason I got this thing. And this road is pretty bumpy, and as you see, we're doing just fine. Now, if I was in the Challenger driving on this road, I'd be going like 5 miles an hour right now, because that thing's a lot stiffer than this, and you know, I'm getting the whole suspension replaced in this Jeep pretty soon anyways, so it's not too big of a deal. The leaf springs on this Jeep are actually completely flat. So one thing you got to keep in mind if you are getting an old Jeep like this is that if the suspension is all stock, then the leaf springs in the rear are probably going to be sagging, or they're going to be completely flat like they are in this. So going up this hill, you see we're going pretty slow. First gear, the car behind us is probably going to get mad because we're going slow, even though the speed limit's 15 and we're going 15. That's just, you know, that's just what you have to deal with if you're a Jeep owner and you drive the speed limit. or any car owner for that matter, if you drive the speed limit, then what I've noticed is that people get mad because they want to drive fast. Alright, so we were in second gear there, it downshifted into first whenever I started there from that yield sign. Also, another thing is if you see branches like this, like, you can just drive right over them and not have to worry about it. Like, yeah, if they're tall enough, it's possible that you can get the paint scratched, but most likely it's just gonna hit like the bumper, the front bumper, and you won't have to worry about it at all. So, you know, if I was in the Challenger, driving the Challenger, and I saw something like that, I'd probably be going really slow trying to go around it, or completely getting out of the car and just moving the branch, because I didn't want to risk scratching the car or anything like that, just because the ground clearance on that thing is so low. And it's one thing I love about Jeeps is that you really don't have to like care too much about the roads that you're driving on, because they're made to do stuff like that. Like, they're made to go off-road. So I like going up here. It's not crazy off-road, it's really not off-roading at all. It's just kind of like gravel, dirt, and a few puddles. But I like coming up here and filming videos, and I'll show you guys how this Jeep handles on the gravel road leading up to the little viewpoint up here. Also, another thing, if you're on a really skinny road and you see an oncoming car like that, then you can easily get over into the grass if there is like a grass section or gravel or dirt. If the other car that's oncoming is like a regular old car, like a sedan or a Challenger, for example, then they're not going to be getting into the grass. If you have a Jeep, you can easily do that and let them pass. So that's one other thing that I like about this thing. Nice JL over at that house. Haven't seen that. But yeah, right here we're going through a little bit of mud. There's a few puddles. And like I said, I do kind of want to make like a off-roading video with this Jeep, just to see how it does completely stock before I get the wheels, tires, and lift kit for this thing. Now, originally I wasn't planning on off-roading this thing at all while it was stock, just because I wanted to get this thing undercoated first before getting it all muddy, because it does have a good bit of rust problems already, as you could probably expect with a 20-year-old Jeep. These things are known for getting rusty, which of course doesn't affect the driving of them. It just affects the look and the lifetime, I guess. And I am planning on getting all the rust fixed, just to make it look better and clean it up a bit. I really do want to get like the whole rockers replaced instead of just patching them up. Just get them fixed up right. So here's that gravel section I was talking about. We're not going to have to shift into four-wheel drive or anything. We are slipping just a little bit. But yeah, I mean, two-wheel drive, getting up this gravel road just fine. We could even probably like drive up this section right here. All in all, I love driving this Jeep every day. It is my daily driver. And then the Challenger is kind of just like my fun car whenever I feel like going out on a Friday night, going to the car meets. Yeah, just having fun with that thing. So here are those little mud puddles I was talking about. A little bit of mud. I mean, this isn't like off-roading by any means, but just seeing what it can do. Oh, it was a little bit deeper than I thought, but yeah. All right, so, you know, overall, I'd say this Jeep is a great daily driver for anybody looking for something cheap to get. Yeah, guys, overall, I really do love this Jeep. Like I said, it is my daily driver, so I pretty much drive it, not completely every day, but, you know, a few times a week. And it literally hasn't given me any problems whatsoever. You know, I have had a check engine light a few times, but I fixed that up. I actually bought it with a check engine light, and that was only for the fuel vapor tube. So it's just the tube that connects from your evap canister back to the gas tank, and I just had to replace that tube just because it was all rusted out and it was leaking. If you want to watch that video, if you have the same issue, then it's on my channel. You can check out my Jeep Cherokee XJ playlist, and you can see all my Jeep videos if you want to check those out. Now, by the way, that check engine light, the code was P0456 and P0455, I believe. So if you have those same check engine light codes, then it's likely that the issue is your fuel vapor tube. So yeah, other than that, the other check engine light I had was a misfire for cylinder 3, but I cleared the code and it never came back. So I don't really know what happened there, but the code's gone. There's no check engine light, so I'm not going to be too worried. But yeah, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Like I said, I absolutely love daily driving this Jeep. It hasn't given me any issues whatsoever. And then you can take it off-road and do stuff like this. And I know this isn't off-roading, but you get my point. You can drive it pretty much anywhere you want. And this thing's completely stock too. So make sure you look out for the video of me doing some off-road testing while this Jeep is still stock. So definitely subscribe so you don't miss that video or any future Jeep videos or Challenger videos. So if you guys have any video suggestions for videos you would like to see in the future, make sure to comment those down below, as well as any questions that you guys have. And if you guys found this video entertaining or informative, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.